We're not here to pressure other countries to embrace or adopt policies or ideologies. We're not here to preach to you about climate change or cultural issues. We're not here to impose our will on you. We are all sovereign nations. We should be able to choose the future we want to build. We respect you, your traditions, and your militaries. And we want to work with you where our shared interests align for peace and prosperity.
Well, this is a lot of hypocrisy coming out of his mouth. Simply because everything that he just said to the assembly is a lie and not true. It's easy to say these kinds of things, but it's a different story to act them out, to communicate them, and with attitude. The first thing that everyone's going to think about there in the assembly is that the Western power, the United States, and other Western powers have imposed their will through colonization. So when he says, we don't want to try to impose our will, it's too late is what they're thinking. Secondly, they're also thinking, but you are doing that through the policies of President Trump and through his administration. This is namely the tariffs as an example of that. And that if the will of a man by the name of Donald Trump is not met, then he uses tariffs and other devices to try to impose his will. The third thing is that these other countries are listening and saying, you're mentioning climate change, but you don't care about climate change. That's why you're not trying to argue about it. The assembly's thinking, but your administration doesn't believe in climate change. Your administration doesn't believe in the scholarship. They don't trust the scientists. Again, hypocrisy. The next thing is that notice that he doesn't talk about the things that they are wanting to fight against China and against everybody else. I mean, I'm bringing China up because he brought China up. We are not here to talk to you about your culturalism, because the Republican leadership does not like those topics. These are messy topics for Republican leadership because it goes back to colonization. It goes back to white supremacy. It goes back to racism and hate and slavery. It goes back to what they call DEI. So this DEI, this Republican DEI, culturalism, they don't want to talk about it because they hate the fact that there's no way to talk about these subjects and it not go back to their failures as as British Americans. Got you there. That's why they don't want to talk about it. He's also lying when he says, we're not here to impose our policies. What a lie. Anytime that the administration, any president, but obviously specifically President Trump's making a lot of dumb and foolish decisions that are unwise. When you make something internal, it does have an international effect. When you start to have policies towards certain countries because you want an outcome from them, you are realistically doing the policies. We are not literally going with our militaries to other countries and landing there or using drones. But we're not at peace with all of these countries. We're definitely at conflict with these countries. And I think that that's something that we all need to keep in mind, because whatever's going on behind the scenes, we unfortunately are not privy to. But you can be sure and mark the words that I am telling you, that there's more going on that's against us. And I'm going to say this in another video here. He is not the person to represent the United States because he does not have the temperament and he does not have the skills